You're listening to CFRN, the Christian Financial Radio Network.
Good afternoon, traders, and welcome back to the CFRN Emini Futures Cast. This is the daily broadcast of Indeterminate Length, where we discuss all things Emini, along with some really big ideas on the finer points of trading gold, bonds, crude, sugar, the euro. Joining us today, Mr. Michael Borth. From our trading desk in Chicago, Mr. Burton Schlichter. Now, to get things started, let's go to our host and founder in Studio A, overlooking South Mountain, America's largest city park. Here's Dwayne.
Good afternoon. Welcome back. Today is Monday, 6th day of May, 2024. Thanks so much for joining us. Whoever you are, wherever you are, we're just glad to have you right here, right now. We do 2 live broadcasts every trading day. The first live broadcast is private. That one is reserved for members only and those who are taking their 1-week free trial. If you have not taken your 1-week free trial, go to mytradingiq.com, and at the very top of the page it says 5-day free trial. No credit card required. Just click the link, fill out the registration form. Now it's an automated process, so be sure you fill it out completely so that we actually get it, so that we actually know you want to take a trial and you actually get a trial. Okay? Just take a minute to make sure you fill out everything you need to fill out. It's not a big deal. We don't need your mother's maiden name or your birth date or any of that crazy stuff. Now, when the live training room ends each day at 11:30 a.m. Eastern, we take a 30-minute break and come back at noon for this broadcast, the afternoon broadcast, which is open to the public. Everybody, everywhere on planet Earth with an internet-connected device. There are 2 different ways you can join this afternoon broadcast live. The best way, you only have to do it once. Go to mytradingiq.com, scroll down the page to where it says afternoon broadcast. Click the link, complete the 30-second registration form, and you're done. You only have to do that once. What'll happen going forward is every trading day, you'll get an email about an hour before this broadcast starts. So at 12 noon Eastern, all you have to do is open the email. There's a link inside. Click the link, and it will automatically log you into our platform. The benefit there is you'll have access to the question box, so you can ask questions and participate in the discussion. I don't start monitoring the question box on our YouTube channel till about 12:45, 12:50, when Michael shows up to give us a recap of the live training room. And then we go live on TradingView for 30 minutes, and then we wrap things up for the day with our good word for the day. Now, there's going to be days when you're out of the office, away from the desktop, but you do still want to join the afternoon broadcast live. You can. And there'll be days when you're busy and can't join live but want to get caught up later. You can do that too. It's the YouTube channel that I just spoke of. It's easy to remember. youtube.com/CFRN. You already know the YouTube part, so all you have to remember is CFRN. Not only do we broadcast live every trading day on our YouTube channel, but we also archive each and every daily broadcast. Currently, there are over 2,500 daily episodes archived for your educational and viewing pleasure. Now, if you're new to the world of CFRN, it's a great way to get to know who we really are. Not just today, not just this week, but really how we've evolved over the years. Thanks to the power of YouTube, you can scroll back 6 weeks, 6 months, 6 years, even more, and just pick some days at random. Watch a little bit, fast forward a little bit, go to another day, do the same thing. You'll discover the thread of connectivity, the thread of continuity that's woven through each and every daily broadcast and our very vibrant trading community. youtube.com/CFRN. Let's open with our daily devotional and a word of prayer as we do every day. Now, the topic for the past week of our daily devotional has been going through hard times. So we'll be wrapping this topic up today. And it's really an important one because we all go through hard times. And we wonder why. Man, I go to work, I'm kind to people, I help the elderly across the street like a Boy Scout, all of that. But yet, life happens. And sometimes it's not good. And we often think, it's our fault, we've done something wrong. Sometimes it is. Sometimes it isn't. Today's scripture is Proverbs 3, verses 5 through 12. And I'm going to share it with you from the Message translation. Starting in verse 5 of Proverbs 3. Trust God from the bottom of your heart. Don't try to figure out everything on your own. Listen for God's voice in everything you do, everywhere you go. He's the one who will keep you on track. Don't assume that you know it all. Run to God. Run from evil. Your body will glow with health. Your very bones will vibrate with life. Honor God with everything you own. Give Him the first and the best. Your barns will burst. Your wine vats will brim over. But don't, dear friend, resent God's discipline. Don't sulk under His loving correction. It's the child He loves that God corrects. A father's delight is behind all this. Again, that was Proverbs 3, verses 5 through 12. And it was from the Message translation. So, the waiting room. Never a place you want to be. Whether it's at the doctor's office or the auto repair shop. Old stale magazines, if they have any at all. We've all heard people use the phrase, "in the meantime," that's in quotes, air quote, I'm doing air quotes here, while they're waiting for something. When we're in the waiting room, the meantime, waiting for our healing or our miracle, it's often pretty mean, isn't it? Gives a new meaning to "in the meantime." So what do we do in the meantime? How do we keep our faith and trust that God is working when we can't see it? Here are a few suggestions while we wait in our struggle, whatever it is. One of the most important things we can do in our pain is worship God. It seems counterintuitive. God's ways are not our ways. He's worthy of our praise every day. When we think of all He's done for us and the eternity we'll spend with Him, how can we not? Focus on God's attributes. He's infinite, unchanging, all-powerful, perfect, merciful, gracious, and He's everywhere all the time. We give God glory and praise before we get out of the trial or receive the outcome we desire. Number 2, keep lifting. In the midst of this pain, you may only see weakness on your part, not the spiritual muscles you're growing or how strong you're getting. But with each repetition of prayer, worship, reading God's Word, and trusting His promises, your spirit is strengthening. It's in our weakness that His strength is made perfect. Many say that trials make or break us. Trust that yours are making you. Pour out your heart. All of the pain you're carrying doesn't scare God. He can absolutely handle your questions, fears, and even your anger. Just keep coming to Him. Trials can make us cling to Christ or flee from Christ. Cling to Him. You may not grasp why this hardship is still present in your life. This is where you put into practice the truth you've learned when things weren't tough. It's a daily surrender and trust. And keep eternity in mind. We must keep our eyes focused on eternity. When we focus on what is seen, we're focusing on the temporary. It's the unseen, the way God is working behind the scenes, that is eternal. God is accomplishing something in us, through us, for us, and yes, even with us. Let's choose to exhibit patience as we see His perfect timeline come to pass. As you endure your waiting room season, don't be afraid to glance back and look at your progress, because you've made some. And then keep taking the next step. You never know when you're going to wake up and see a break in your spiritual low-lying clouds. The day you think you can walk no further may be the day of your breakthrough. Reflect on this. If you're in the waiting room in your life, ask God to show you something He's doing in and through you each day. The scripture we read today, which verse or passage resonates with you the most? Go over it. Jot down your thoughts. Again, it was Proverbs 3, verses 5 through 12 that we read, and it was from the Message translation. You may prefer a different translation. But find the piece of scripture that we shared today that really speaks to you and whatever hard time you're going through. Join me in a word of prayer. Heavenly Father, thank you for the wisdom and guidance that we find in Proverbs 3. Lord, we thank you for the assurance that when we trust in you with all of our hearts and lean not on our own understanding, you will make our paths straight. Help us, Lord, to surrender our lives fully to you and to place our trust in your unfailing love and wisdom. May we acknowledge you in all our ways, seeking your direction and guidance in every decision we make. Lord, we confess that there are times when we rely too heavily on our own understanding and fail to seek your will. Forgive us, Lord, and help us to cultivate a spirit of humility and dependence on you. Thank you, Lord, for your discipline and correction, which are expressions of your love for us. Help us to receive your correction with humility and to learn from your instruction, knowing that you discipline those you love. And Lord, we pray for your grace to abound in our lives, enabling us to walk in obedience to your word. May your Spirit lead us in the paths of righteousness, and may we bring honor and glory to your name in all that we do. Thank you, Lord, for your faithfulness and your love. May we continue to trust in you with all our heart and to acknowledge you in all our ways. It's in Jesus' name we believe and pray. And everybody said, amen. Amen. And happy Monday. That oxymoron. Happy Monday. Come on now. If there weren't Mondays, there would be no weekends, right? True story. Let me give you the numbers from around the world. Start here in the U.S. with the cash markets or the indices. Currently, the Dow is up 15 points. The NASDAQ is up 91. S&P 500 is up 25. And the Russell 2000, our man in the street, is also up 25, which for the Russell is a little over 1.25%. So that's the only mover and shaker in that bunch. In the commodity basket, crude oil finally turning north, up 63 cents, trading 78.74 last. It's a gain of almost 1%. Gold up $26.30, trading 23.3490 last. That's a gain of over 1%. Silver up 95 cents, trading 27.63 last. That's a gain of 3.5%. Silver and gold got beat down pretty hard last week, but now they've suddenly come roaring back. A reminder that when silver, the price of silver, moves by $1, that's worth $5,000 per contract traded. And again, silver's up 95 cents. So we're real close to that $5,000 mark. In the Asian markets, at the close, the Nikkei down 37 points, Shanghai up 35 points, the Hang Seng up 102. And in the European markets, at the close, FTSE up 41, the DAX up 173, almost 1%. The CAC up 39. So we had a mixed day in Asia. It was a green day for the UK. And so far, it's a green Radio Monday here in the US of A. The Dow is concerning in that it's positive by only 19 points. And it takes 20 points to get your goal for the day in the Dow. So that's not much. And so the fact that we're only up 19 points, well, you know, if the Dow chooses to follow the other indices, then we'll be just fine. But if the other indices start to follow the Dow, well, we could see some red on the screen by the end of the day. So we'll just have to wait it out. And of course, the dollar is weaker on renewed Fed rate cut hopes. Everybody hoping Fed's going to cut the rates. I'm more concerned he's going to pull the rug out from under the markets, but hey, that's just an opinion. So let's look at something other than an opinion. Well, no, I'll give you one more opinion, just not mine. Tesla. Actually positive on the day, but they just announced this morning another round of layoffs. Pretty soon, the only person left will be Elon and the janitor. Another round of layoffs, including staff from the software, service, and engineering departments. The move comes after the Elon Musk-led automaker disbanded its EV charging department after Tesla announced last month that it was reducing its global workforce by more than 10%. Now, I shared this just for the irony. Here you have a company that makes electric cars, right? Probably the most well-known electric car company. And they're disbanding its electric vehicle charging department. All I can say is, isn't that ironic? Don't you think? I don't know what else to add to that. I really don't. Okay, last week, how did we end up? I'm going to tell you. Last week was week 300 for Logic 247. We issued a total of 48 alerts for the entire week. 8 never triggered. So we had 40 actionable alerts, of which 3 or 8% would have been stopped out based on market structure and a very simple process that we teach all of our passport holders. So now let's jump to this week. Here it is. We are now in week 301. And we've issued 16,662 alerts, over 16,600 individual handcrafted alerts. I should write that down. I can say it a bunch of times. 16,600. That's a lot. Over 301 weeks. Now, what we've averaged over those 301 weeks is 20% or less of the alerts being stopped out. Again, based simply on market structure and that very simple process we teach all of our passport holders. Now, the Monday session began last night at 6 p.m. Eastern, just as the Tuesday session will begin tonight at 6 p.m. Eastern. So since the markets opened last night, we issued a total of 12 alerts. When Valerie did the recap this morning at 6:30 a.m. Eastern, we were still waiting on the outcome of 4, which gave us 8 actionable alerts, of which 1, or 13%, would have been stopped out, again based on market structure and that very simple process that we teach all of our passport holders. Now, 301 weeks is a lot, but way before we had Logic 247, we had our original alert service, the concierge trade alerts, and they're a little bit different. The logic alerts can come out anytime around the clock, 2 a.m., 2 p.m. Futures trade around the clock, and we have traders around the globe. CTAs, on the other hand, are published as a static report shortly after the Globex open each evening. So 10 minutes after the markets opened last night, all of these targets were published for our members and trial members. And when we'll go to the charts, we'll see how important that is. Now, with the logic alerts, you get an entry price, an initial target. That initial target is designed to help you get your goal for the day. Then you'll often have 2, 3, 4, 5 targets or more even, and then a final trade to target. Those targets come from me looking left for you, pointing out where there will be potential obstacles to the continuation of that trade in that direction. So if it's a long alert, I'm looking left for previous swing highs. If it's a short alert, I'm looking left for previous swing lows. The best thing you can do if you're new is every time a logic alert comes out, even if you don't trade that market, go to the 30-minute chart, draw a horizontal line at the entry price, and then a horizontal line at the initial target. That right there is enough to get you your goal for the day. Then each of the additional targets that are in the logic alert, draw a horizontal line at that price, and then look left, and you'll see exactly why. You can call it an obstacle or you can call it a target, okay? If it's a short alert, it's going to be PR, potential, or if it's a short alert, it's going to be potential support, PS. If it's long, it's going to be PR, potential resistance. But if you'll do that exercise, pretty soon, you'll be able to look at a 30-minute chart of any market and immediately see where the windows of opportunity are and where the obstacles to the trade are. You see, the purpose of the alerts is not so that you can just trade them and not have to worry about learning how to trade. That is not the purpose at all. The purpose of the alerts is to help you learn how to read a chart. Once you're able to read a chart, you can then learn how to trade. And once you learn how to trade, no one can ever take that away from you. And you can trade anything, anywhere, anytime, because price flows the same across all markets and all time frames. So the first step, the logic alerts. Then you step up your game a little bit with the concierge trade alerts. Okay. When this report comes out each evening, the first thing you should do, is go to whatever markets you actually trade or are learning how to trade, and make note of where price is at the time the report came out. Maybe you're not there the moment it comes out. Maybe you show up 2 hours later. But on your 30-minute chart, make a note of where price was at this time. Then draw a line in the sand at the long target. Draw a line in the sand at the short target. Those will serve as great visual cues to help you stay on the right side of the street. If price gets above the 30-minute BBC, it's attempting to reach the long target. If price gets below the 30-minute BBC, it's attempting to reach the short target. It's pretty simple. BBC simply stands for bull, bear, cross. When price crosses above the green line you see on my charts, then I'm bullish and anticipate higher prices. When price crosses below the green line, then I'm bearish and anticipate lower prices. Now the BBC, you'll see it on my 30-minute chart, you'll see it on my daily chart, but you can put it on any chart. Any time-based chart, tick chart, range chart, works the same. Price gets above the green line, expect higher prices. Price gets below the green line, expect lower prices. Really is that simple. Now with the CTAs, this is where you start looking left yourself. Remember, the logic alerts helped you learn how to spot potential obstacles because I looked left for you. With the CTAs, you get to look left yourself. And you start to learn how price behaves at a weekly trading zone. That's very important because price is always trying to reach a weekly trading zone. From the moment the markets open Sunday night till they close Friday afternoon, if price is above the 30-minute BBC, it's trying to get to the zone overhead. If price is below the 30-minute BBC, it's trying to get to the zone below. Just resist the urge to make it more complicated than that. Now the weekly zones come out Monday morning, 6:15 a.m. Eastern. Once they're published, they're carved in stone for the entire week. We've published the zones for our members since December 14th, 2009. So this December 9th will make 15 years. Once you understand how price behaves at and around a weekly zone, zones will become one of the most important tools in your trading toolbox. And again, they come out Monday morning, 6:15 a.m. Eastern. Now on Sunday night, all the alerts that go out are based on last week's zones. But any alert that goes out after 6:15 a.m. Monday morning, those are based on the new weekly zones. Makes sense, right? Okay. Well, let's take a peek at the daily chart. We always look at the daily chart first. So should you, no matter what you trade. Why? Because institutional traders, the ones who actually move price, they look at daily, weekly, and monthly charts the way you and I look at 30-minute charts, 5-minute charts, tick charts, and range charts. Has to do with account size. So when you look at the daily chart, you're literally looking over the shoulder of the deep pockets that move price. So if you'll just spend 2 minutes with the daily chart of whatever it is you're about to trade, you'll see over time how that affects your trading results positively. Now, last week we talked about Red and falling had turned to blue and climbing, and the market found support there. And because we had blue and climbing, there was a good possibility that we would trade through the BBC. Now, as you can see, the pullback to the BBC holds more often than it doesn't. The last time we crossed above the BBC, that's the green line, bull bear cross, was November 2nd. Now we've done it again. Okay. We spent all this time above from November 2nd to we finally closed April 4th below. And then we went right back above. So we made a pretty clean break here, but we didn't here. So we talked last week about the potential for this trend line to be resistance. If we overcame that, the next obstacle would be the 62% fib extension. And then the next obstacle would be the bearish cross right here at about 52.31. A bearish cross is when the red line gets below the green line, just like a bullish cross is when the blue line gets above the green line. Now, if we close today above the 62% fib extension, watch this area real carefully here. Okay, 52. 52.28 to 52.31. It's an area, okay, but watch it because that will most likely be good resistance the first time up. Maybe we could probably use the high of that candle right there. What's the high? 52.21? No. 52.48? No, that's a little high. I would say 28.31. That's your area. And then if we get above that, now the first time we go up, we should hit resistance. So get a retracement, then we make another run. If we overcome that area, then you want to look at these previous swing highs. Here, here, here. And then here's the all-time historic high, which was put in on April 1st, April Fool's Day. Okay? So we did get a 24% fib retracement. We never made it to the 38. Now, this whole run up, the low was October 27th of last year. The all-time historic high was April 1st of this year. This whole time, we didn't get a 24% retracement. We finally got one, and we overshot it to the 38% fib extension, where we found support. And we ran up to the BBC. Remember, the pullback holds more often than not. And that resistance sent us back down to the 24% fib retracement, which acted as good support in conjunction with blue and climbing, and that brought us to where we are right now. Okay. High of the day, 51.87.75. Now, the 30-minute charts, that's where all the alerts are created, both logic and CTAs. Vertical line separates today, Monday. Back here's Friday, Thursday, etc. When price runs up to a weekly zone, we expect resistance. When it drops to a zone, we expect support until proven otherwise. Now remember, these are last week zones because these are our alerts that went out last night. Any alerts that go out today will be based on this week's zones. And on tomorrow's afternoon broadcast, you'll see this week's zones on my charts. Okay. So we had a slightly higher gap open last night on the ES. And we got stopped dead in our tracks at the weekly zone, 5165/66. When the market finds resistance, it's going to go look for support. Price always reverts to the mean. In our case, the mean is green. It's called the BBC. Bull bear cross. Bullish above it, bearish below it. Okay, so we pull back and it held. So we got a leg, we got a retracement, and then we come up to the weekly zone again. We consolidate for about an hour, and then off we go, right up to the target. Now there was still one zone left overhead from last week, but that's all going to change because I'll change these zones after today's broadcast. So we never had any reason to look at the short CTA target because we never got below BBC. On the Dow, we had that same gap higher open, pull back to the BBC, red and falling turned to blue and climbing, and then we had the perfect stack right up to the target. Price, step line, blue and climbing, BBC. So we hit the target, which just so happened to be the high from Friday. After that consolidation, we did put in a higher high, but now we've dropped below the BBC. Remember when I gave you the numbers from around the world, I said the weakest market at the moment was the Dow. We're below the BBC. We got red and falling overhead. So if we take out this low and these lows, then a trade from 75 down to 45, that would be 30 points. You only need 20 points to get your goal for the day with the Dow. On the Russell, we had a gap higher open, the gap filled. Okay. Whenever you have a gap on the indices, it will almost always fill within a few hours or the same session. It's rare when it doesn't. So we pulled back, but we didn't pull back all the way to the BBC here. We closed the gap and kept going all the way, see here. Then we got our retracement, pull back held, pulls more often than not. And that took us right up to the target. Now with the Russell, you only need 2 points, just like the ES. So there was lots of opportunity on the way up. Get your goal for the day. And then after this retracement, this move here, 2067 to 2069, done for the day. In Q, we opened, we gapped higher, just above the zone, and then we pulled back to the BBC. The pullback held, red and falling turned to blue and climbing, and so we had a leg, a retracement to the BBC that held, and then we made it to the target. Looks like pretty much to the tick. We overshot it by 1.5. Now we're just consolidating sideways. On crude. Crude was the only market last week that closed outside the zones. We closed below the lowest weekly zone on crude. In fact, we got below it early in the week. This is Friday, Thursday, Wednesday. Yep, on Wednesday we got below it. So, this was the open last night. We ran up to the BBC resistance, which sent us down to blue and climbing support. Then we consolidated at the BBC. Then we made a run to the long target. Price, step line, blue and climbing, BBC. Perfect stack. So we consolidate there for a bit. Blue and climbing turns to red and falling. We go back to the BBC. And we did get one more run right here, back up to the long target. We consolidated. We made another run, but we weren't able to take out the high put in earlier. That's a sign of weakness. And we just ran almost all the way to the short target. We took out Friday's low by how much? Just a little bit. And what do we know about just a little bit? Be very, very careful. Okay. So buyers ran this up pretty quick. I mean, we dropped from 79 bucks to 78 bucks in one 30-minute candle. That's a $1 move in crude in 30 minutes. That's $1,000 per contract traded. That's what that represents. Gold. Here's where we open. And we got below the BBC. We dropped right to the short target. You see that right there? I haven't taught you about that yet, but I will. Okay. So we drop to the short target, find support. We get above the BBC, run up to the zone overhead, consolidate a little bit, put in a leg, a retracement, leg, a retracement, leg, and a retracement. And the high of the session is at the zone from last week, 2340/41. When the market finds resistance, it will go look for support, which it found at the BBC. But we put in a lower high on that bounce. So I would say there is a good possibility, potential for price to drop below this long target and take us perhaps all the way back to this zone at 2318/19. But that's reading a lot into something that isn't there yet. So remember, just trade what's in front of you. Silver. Here's where we opened last night. Quickly dropped to the short target. And then we made a run to the long target through it. Now remember, a $1 move in silver is worth $5,000 per contract traded. So from 26.64 to 27.64, that's $5,000 per contract traded. Silver is not the best market to get started with if you're brand new, but it's a good market. Here's the open last night on the euro. Dropped to the BBC. Got a leg, a retracement, a leg, a retracement to blue and climbing. That took us all the way up to the zone. When the market runs into resistance, it's going to go look for support. Now we've closed below the BBC, but we're still touching it. But we got red and falling overhead. So that's bearish. And if price starts to drop on the euro, we got a bullish cross right here. That's potential support. So keep an eye on that. And probably the ES is the simplest market. ES or the Dow. Now let me see if I can find Michael. No, he's not here yet. So we'll just continue to wait. Maybe he's having trouble logging in. Let me check. Okay, I'll wait to hear back from him. Let's go take one more look at the daily chart. We've covered everything here. Buyers continuing to press higher. 51.88.75. If we go back and look at the 30-minute chart, well, we are off the high of the session, but that could just simply be the beginning of a retracement. Step line has crossed. See how on the way up, we got price, step line, blue and climbing. Now the step line has officially crossed blue and climbing. Instead of being on the left side, it's on the right side. And blue and climbing is directly above price. So now it's potential resistance. So that may send us back to the BVC. Pull back holes more often than not. Okay. Oh, there we are.
Here I am. I am here. I am here. Sorry about the delay.
Oh, no problem.
Okay.
Go ahead and grab it whenever you're ready.
Okay, I'll just take it right over then. Yes. Here we are.
Okay, looks good.
All right, here we go then. Good afternoon, everyone. Today is Monday, the 6th day of May. Wow, the 6th day of May already, 2024. It's Mother's Day next weekend. Just remind all you guys. Mother's Day next weekend. If you have not taken a free trial with us, go here to mytradingiq.com and click on this purple button right here to take the free trial. Right when you click on that, it's going to bring you to this registration page, where all we ask for is your name, your email, your phone number, and down here at the bottom, you can give us your Ninja Trading Machine ID or your Trading View login ID. Either one is great. Once you give us that information, we'll be able to set you up with everything you need to take the trial. All right, everything you need to set up your indicators and take the trial. Now today we had a blue day today, guys. I made one mistake in the morning that put us down that much. It actually put us down a little more than that. But and I didn't have enough opportunity to make it back. So if you're gonna read the spreadsheet, you gotta read all the CFTC risk disclosures down at the bottom. Now, blue day means I did get the goal for the day. I got it on the very first trade. I was up $100 contract on the very first trade, and then I stopped out a couple of times. So on the NQ, we're a minus 35 ticks. On the Russell, we're a minus 5 ticks. On the YM, we're a plus 20, and on the S, we're a plus 2. That put us at minus 75 on the morning session. Today it took 6 minutes and one trade to get to the goal for the day. At that point, we're up $2,550. So we took a total of 13 trades. So on the year now, we've gotten our goal for the day on 85 out of 85 days, but this number starts over again tomorrow. That'll be a 1. We've now gone 244 days since our last red day, though. That number sticks. And that means 244 business days. I believe that puts us back into July of, I don't know when that puts us, July of 2022, I think, something like that. Anyway, on the year, we're at $35,682. It might be December of 2022. But on the year, we're at $35,682, averaging $419 per contract per day. So on the month, we're at $486 per day, and on the year, we're at $419 per day. Now, if you were to quit trading when you get your goal for the day, and you were to add 1 contract per month, so far this year, you would have only had to work 31.85 hours. And if you started this year with 1 contract in January, you'd be averaging $1,000 per hour right now. If you started in January with me last year, you'd now be averaging $5,643 per hour. Big difference. But this is still great money. $1,000 an hour is great money. If you were to work 5 hours a week, that's $250,000. 5 hours a week. That's not too hard to take. If you could do that and average that every day, and you can. This is something that can be done. Anyway, let's get into the actual trades. All right, there aren't a lot of trades to talk about today, but we'll get into them. Let me shut off the alerts. I did make a change for those of you guys who are using TV trades. I'll get into that in a minute. Okay. I did make a change to TV trades over the weekend. Actually, it was early this morning. But let's get into the YM trade or 2 that I took. Trade or 2. This is where we got our goal for the day. Actually, it was on the very first trade. Right here. Got our goal for the day on this one. I picked up 20 ticks, and that was it. Got our goal for the day. Next trade we took was right here. We had a break even on that one. In here, I wasn't taking anything through here. I don't know what happened through there, why I didn't take any of those blue arrows. I know we were so close to the weekly trading zone here, I didn't want to do that. And that, if I would have taken it, it would have given me a break even. This, if I would have taken it, it would have stopped me out. This would have gotten it back. This wouldn't have done anything because it wasn't coming off a lower swing. I did take the break even on that. And we just didn't have any more opportunity. I was doing the lesson plan all through here, so I missed all those green arrows, and then the morning session ended. And I was thinking after the morning session when European markets opened up, I mean, European markets shut down, we would have it opened up a little bit for us, and it just did right here, a little bit right there, a little bit right there, a little bit there, and there, and there. It's really not giving a whole bunch today, and we have no news events today, so I don't expect it's going to get any better here as we get into the next part of this. And the Russell, I mean, you can see the whole Russell here in one screen. This is our whole morning right here. The whole morning is right there. From 9:30 to 11:30. We didn't take this because it was going into a zone. I wasn't sure the zone was there at that point. Oh yeah, I guess I was. It was 10 o'clock. I had the zones on by that point. But we took a trade here on the Russell. We ended up with +5 on that. Then we took the next one here. We stopped out. And now this one I shouldn't have stopped out on. I should have had my stop at break even. Mistake on my part. So I guess we made 2 mistakes this morning. We had a break even right there. And then during the break, we really didn't get anything on the Russell. Okay, we really didn't get much at all going there on the Russell. You guys are probably wondering what the purple arrows are. If you don't know what they are, they're nothing to you yet. And I'm still working on them. Yes, I'm still working on them. Okay, so the ES again, all in one screenshot. You can tell the market has done nothing when you can see multiple markets all in one screenshot. On the ES, we took 1 trade right here and we took 2 ticks in profit on it. You can see it started out right here with a purple arrow. Actually, it started out right here at 9:13. Something that moved a little bit. Then it had a purple arrow right there. Then we had the blue arrow here that we took. This one was right inside a zone. And this is all in a no trade zone right here. So there was nothing you could do in there for that whole period. It's like an hour and a half, almost 2 hours right there that you could do nothing. Right, from 10:30, 11:30, 12:30, 2.5 hours right now. Nothing going on the ES. Just check the sensitivity on that and make sure that it's 0.35. Okay, and make sure that this one here is also 0.35. Yeah, they both are. All right. The NQ, we had the majority of the trades on the NQ. Sadly, this last one that I took here went enough to get us to positive. I just didn't realize it, or I would have taken it. We only needed like 16 ticks or 17 ticks. And it actually went up 20 ticks, and I ended up taking a break even on it because at that point, I wasn't really thinking we're going to get any follow through at all. All right, so on the NQ, we started out here with a break even trade, and we followed up right here. This is my, well, this I thought was my first mistake right here. It was actually my first mistake. That went enough to get the stop to break even, but I didn't. Just like that other one on the Russell went enough to get it to break even, but I didn't. So between these 2 trades, we had 30 ticks worth of stop out, over $150 a contract. So that would put us at +75 if I wouldn't have stopped out on those 2 things. Anyway, we didn't take any more trades through there, and we had a break even on this one, and we took a little profit on this. So we're at -20, and then we took +5 ticks on that to get us to -15. And then we stopped out on this one over here to put us back down to -35. And at the very end, we had this one here that did give us enough. I only needed 16 ticks, and it did give us 16 ticks before it pulled back. And that was it. We stopped after that. And got a break even there. And then during the break, there were some purple arrows here. This one would have stopped you out. This one probably would have stopped you out. This one would have given me a break even had I taken it. And that was it. Not a lot happening there. And that was the morning, guys. That was it. That was the whole morning. So even being a few minutes late, I managed to get the whole recap done in no time at all because there were very few trades. So if you're going to read the spreadsheet, you got to read all CFTC risk disclosures down at the bottom. We were -35 on the NQ, -5 on the Russell, +20 on the YM, and +2 on the ES. Put us at -75 on the morning session. We did get our goal for the day on the very first trade after 6 minutes. Put us at $2,550 with 17 contracts on. And we took a total of 13 trades this morning. So on the month, now we're at $1,947 over 4 business days, averaging $486 per contract per 2-hour business day. And on the year, we're now at $35,682 over 85 business days, averaging $419 per contract per 2-hour business day. Get this going over here on this screen. All right. Okay, so that's where we ended with the morning session. Okay, and I'm trying to get my cursor back over here now. There we go. All right, so we don't have any trades right here, but they're starting to develop. There's one starting to come together here on the ES, one starting to come together here on the NQ, and one on the YM. So we're going to wait and see if we get anything out of those right now. And before I go too much further, if you haven't taken a free trial with us and you want to, then go here to mytradingiq.com, click on the purple button right here. There's no credit card required for the trial. Click on the purple button right there and bring it to this registration page. Just fill out this form. That's all you need to do. Okay, and that will get you a free trial with indicators and everything else. Okay. Let's see. So now we're looking for a pullback in here. The thing that I wanted to show you, I don't know what happened since last time I looked at Bitcoin. Yeah, we're looking at this green arrow here, and I was thinking that the green arrow here should push it down to this level right here, 53,705. It's going to really persist in the trend that it's developed. 57,305. Why is that from the bottom there? It should be right there. Probably over here. So maybe it's not 57,305. 54,728. 54,728 is what it's looking like. All right. And let me bring up the question box in case anybody asks any questions, because I did put in a change. Ian, what market do I recommend for beginners? I would say do 2 markets maybe, Ian. Maybe the ES and either the Russell or the YM. These because they're $5 a tick. And you know, when you get started, you don't want to I mean, ES, I'm only saying the ES because it's slow. The NQ is about to give a trade going right into the zone, so I'm not going to take that. But I only say the ES because it's slow. It's not really, it doesn't give a lot of opportunity. Okay, you could do these 2 right here and be fine, because the Russell is usually kind of slow too compared to the YM and the NQ. But these are $5 a tick, so when you stop it out, when you stop out, it's not going to affect you financially as much. We're at 38,909 right here. If you add 8 to that, you'd be buying 38,917. Like this. Okay. And there it is. We just triggered in. It's a long trade. All the alerts going off. Everything's popping on my phone. It's everywhere. Now the stop should be 10 ticks away. I take a slip in there, so it'll slip my stop too. Okay, so now we just have to manage it. Where should it go? It should go up to the prior swing high, right up there. Right here. That prior swing high is where it should go to. Okay, so now we just got to manage the risk. The NQ's actually got a trade going there too. The NQ's going right up into a zone, but the zone might act as a magnet here, pulling it, and it's far enough away to get the stop to break even. So NQ's actually a trade too in here. It's almost there. It's going to go right there. That stop is at break even now on the NQ, and it should get up to the weekly trading zone, which is up here at 120, right there. It'd be a nice target right there. 5 points. There it goes, and I'm going to lock in some profit on this. 8 ticks right there, and I might as well just let it go. The swing high is, I don't know if that's the swing. Yeah, it is the swing high up there at 18,125. So I'm gonna lock in some more on that and some more on that. It looks like we might stop out over there on the YM, but we just made up for it here. If we do, we just made up for it there on the NQ. It did go right up to the zone, so that 2021 target there on the NQ was good. The weekly trading zone target was good. We did stop out over here on the NQ, on the YM though. And the Bitcoin's got this green arrow. Now the green arrow is not really solid until this bar closes down. All right. So it's not a sell yet. If we end the day bearish and we end the day with a green arrow there, then that would have a valid green arrow trade. But because it hasn't done that yet, it is not quite yet a valid trade. All right, so Yeah, Ian, I would say you can trade the YM pretty well, pretty easy. I don't know that I'd do it on a 7 range. I'd probably do it on a 9 range. Okay, and the reason I would do it on a 9 range is because when you're figuring out where to put your stop, it's going to be 10 from the top or bottom of the bar. So that's just easier to do the math, right? Instead of saying, on a 7 range, you got to say, okay, well, it's 913, so plus 8. You got to do the math. When it's plus 10, you can say, okay, well, it's 3 or 23. And the extra couple of ticks on the on the YM is only $10, and that $10 works both ways. So you can do it on a 9 range, and a 10 stop on that probably wouldn't work out so well, though. If you're going to use a 9 range, you might want to use like a 12 stop, something like that, maybe a 13 stop. Lucky number. Okay, that's what if I were going to do the YM, that's how I would consider it. The reason being is it doesn't work. These two over here, the reason I do these two with a 7 range and a 15 range is because the points are in multiples of 4. It's 4 ticks to a point. This, every tick up and down is a point. So if you do it by 10, and this here would be the same thing. If you do this like on a 9 range, knowing from the bottom of this 70.5, I can do the math in my head really fast and say, okay, well, we're going to be buying 8 ticks above that. It's going to be 71.3. But if you add it on a 9 range, you say, okay, it's 70.5, I'm going to buy 71.5. It's just easier to think about. It was less stuff to think about when you're putting that together in your head, deciding where to put your stop loss and all that. Just an idea, just a thought. Okay, and on either of those, if you do them on a 9 range, you're probably going to have a little bit bigger stop than a 10 stop. Okay, I know you see me doing all these things in here on a 7 range, but that's just to keep them consistent. Okay, I wouldn't want to do the yes on a 9 range because that would make the stop way too big. The stop on that, if we had a 12 stop, it'd be $150 a contract, and I really don't want it to be that big. Okay, for the people who are starting out, say for people who are just starting out, $150 stop out is a pretty big stop out and hard to recover from sometimes. If you get 150 stop out on this, it's 30 ticks on this to recover that $150. Okay, and that's with one contract. All right. So there was another thing I wanted to look at, and I wanted to mention to everyone. A couple of things I wanted to mention. First, we have these purple arrows going on Trading IQ. The purple arrows and the new alerts. Now, those of you guys that were here on Friday might be familiar with that stuff. Let me explain that before I go into the next thing. The purple arrows are not permanent yet. I haven't released this yet. The only way to get access to the purple arrows and to the new alerts is to go out to my tradingiq.com, go to trading platforms, and down here at the bottom, use this layout. Where is it? I'm not trading platforms. Go to trade rules. Sorry, my tradingiq.com. Go to trade rules. Then right here, this layout right here. But you have to have Pro Plus or above to be able to use it. It's got 4 charts in it. That's the only way to get access to it right now. I'm probably going to put it out so everybody can use it. Maybe today, tomorrow, something like that. It won't be too much longer. But the purple arrows are simply arrows that show a pullback to the BBC when the outer band is the right color and the black line is in the right color. Okay, if the black line is in the right color and price pulls back and hits the BBC and the outer band is the right color, you're going to get a purple arrow. It doesn't take the slingshot into account at all. And they usually work out really well. Okay, they usually work out really well, especially if you got some trend in the outer band. Like this right here, you got a little bit of trend in the outer band. You see they happen inside no trade zones. They don't consider no trade zones at all. They don't consider the slingshot at all or no trade zones at all. Okay, at this point. And I'm still working on them. I'm still waiting for feedback from you guys that are using this. That's what the purple arrows are. Now, I also added in here, I made the alerts very specific. Okay. You now have alerts for each kind of arrow. You can have a blue arrow long and short alert. You can have a green arrow long and short alert. You can have a purple arrow long and short alert. All right. When you create an alert, you have to go in here under notifications. Well, there's a couple of things. Like if I were to create a new alert, let me do this. Let me just create a new alert and I'll show you how it works. You go in here like this. I'm sorry, let me do that slower. You click on these three dots, right? It's going to be the context PP. You click on these three dots, and when you do that, you hit add alert right there. And then you would pick what alert you want. We'll say blue arrow long, okay? You get to this point right here. You want to click once per bar close, all right? Just make a habit of clicking once per bar close, right? Because you want it to happen only at the bar close. You want to give you that alert, right? You can say once per bar, but if you have it on another time frame, like a 30-minute or something else like that, it might give it to you. It might trigger it once in the bar, but then the bar doesn't actually give the alert at the end of this, at the end of it all. It doesn't give you the blue arrow, but it might give you the qualification for a blue arrow in the middle of the bar, and it might trigger it in the middle of the bar. So if you do once per bar close, then you're going to have the blue arrow when the bar closes. All right, so click once per bar close. And you can name it down here if you want to, put whatever time frame you're on. It's going to give you an alert that looks like this down here at the bottom. All right, it looked like this. And this says there was a green arrow short at 1312. Green arrow short at 1312, whenever that was. Okay, well, it's just right here. And that is probably giving you that green arrow short because this last bar triggered it at one point in the middle of it. So if I click on the green arrow short right here, I believe that's going to have, the once per bar set. See, but you didn't actually get the alert there because you didn't have a green arrow. If you do once per bar close, that's the way they need to be set. They need to be set once per bar close. That's a good example of why you need to have the once per bar close right there. Okay, because this says a green arrow short, but you can see there was no green arrow short right there. Right? If that bar would have closed down, or if this bar would have closed down, then you would have had your green arrow short. But you didn't, because it didn't. So all of these that I have set here need to be, see, they're all once per bar. They need to be once per bar close. All of them. And that's exactly why. All right. So that's how you would say, I just created another one. I think I created it down here at the bottom, right? A blue arrow short. I can delete this one. This was one I just created. It's an ES one, whatever, it doesn't really matter. But you do once per bar close on that. And you can add a name in here. You can put, whatever range it is, because what it's going to say right here, I guess it does say the range right in there. So I guess you don't really need to add anything. You can just put it on and save it, and it'll be good. All right, that's how you add the alert and the new information in the alert. Now you guys don't have this yet, but when I do put this release out, that's how you use it. You just go in here, you do create alert, you go in here, click on the three dots, click like that, have the alert, pick whatever one you want to do. We'll say green arrow long, and do once per bar close, and come in here and check your notifications. Now, they used to have this thing down here, it used to be an SMS and used to be pretty cool and send right to your phone, but you don't really need that anymore. They changed it so it doesn't, and you don't need it anymore. If you have the app on your phone, you can just do notify an app. If you have the app running on your phone, you'll get it on your phone. Okay, and it's just as fast as the SMS was. So, like right now, whenever you see something alert over here, it pops up over here, it gives the signal over here. It also gives it on my phone and it gives it in my headset. So I wanted to point that all out to you guys, the changes that are coming for you. And that in the TV trades, that was the other thing I wanted to point out, because I did put those changes in already in the TV trades. This thing right here, it used to be right on top of price, right? Like that. Well, when it first came out, it was right on top of price right here. It said possible long soon. So what I did is I moved it over 25 bars to the left, and I made it optional. So if you come in here, you can shut that off just by checking that. All right, and it'll shut off. All right, and I also added alert criteria in here too, if you want it. The old alert criteria is still there, but if you want to specifically say you just want buy alerts or sell alerts, you can check these things. Do just buy alerts or sell alerts. Okay, and hit create, and again, you're gonna do the same thing in here. I mean, when you do that, if you come in here and you choose one of those, you're going to want to do once per bar close. All right. Unless you want to be notified intra-bar, you know, but usually you just can do once per bar close and get notified once it happens. Okay. And the same kind of alerts are in here. You can play a sound, you can send an email, you can show a pop-up, you can notify on your app on the phone. All right. I wanted to point all that stuff out for you. This is already out there. So if you have, you know, this is what it looks like before. No, this is what it looks like now. This is what it looked like before. Wait a minute, this one. That's what it looks like now. This is what it looks like before. Okay, this is what it looks like before. I mean, to you, it looks the same right now because this is where it is. But if this were just issued, it would be right here on top of price. And that's pretty ugly. If you're on like a 6-hour chart, then it's gonna be right there on top of price for 6 hours. And I know I got some feedback from one of our guys that does use a 6-hour chart over the weekend. Actually, last night, the wee hours of the morning this morning. And so I fixed it, and he is a happy man now. Okay, so that is the change with that. It's moved over to the left. And all the changes that I put in for everything that we create, you know, all the changes that I put in, if you go to About This Script, click on those 3 dots and go to About This Script. It has a description of all the changes in here as they were put in, when they were put in. Like 14 hours ago, I did this, and then I realized I forgot to put something else in the note. And so I did another one 14 hours ago and did that. So I added the option, I moved it over 25 bars, add alerts for that, and I shifted that. But this is for everything that I've created. We have to have that script in there for you. Okay, they actually require it. So like in here, you know, when I did the last one of these, TQ context, I don't know if that's a PP or, okay, this one right here, the last one of these that I did, if you go in here and do About the Script on this one, I think there were a bunch of changes on that, weren't there? No, actually not too many. Okay, that was April 7th and April 11th. I did that, added some stuff in there to make it better for you, more user-friendly, the whole table thing. All right. Well, that is all of that new stuff. Let me go here and look at this. And I don't see any questions coming in anywhere. So I guess we'll just put trades on if we have any. I wasn't expecting to have a whole bunch of trades today, but in that kind of a day. No questions? Anybody? Nobody? All right. I want to minimize that. Move that over there. All right, yeah, so James, I was thinking that. James B, that all these alerts be something that would really help someone who can't see very well. All right, so it's 1:22. We only have about 8 minutes left in here, guys. About 8 minutes left. And I'm looking. At this stuff right here. Okay. We just don't have any trade setups here. We have a no trade zone here, no trade zone here. We're coming out of a no trade zone there. We're in a no trade zone there. This has been like the whole morning so far. You know, we had more trades yesterday in the first half hour than we had all morning this morning. Not yesterday, but Friday. I was expecting this kind of a day though. Really. All right. Well, let's look over here and see if we have anything going on over here. This was Exxon this morning. Didn't get the normal early morning trade on Exxon. That usually happens around 9:30, but there was an afternoon trade right here. That traded at 11:30, and that was from 117.64 ran up to 118.35, so almost a buck on it. Usually it's down here at the beginning of the day that those happen. I don't know if there's any other things in the this on a 15 range. I don't know what it looks like. I want to look at it on a 30-minute to get an idea of what kind of a market it's in. Okay, so it's pretty bullish right here. It gave a short a little while ago. That was last week before actually. Gave a short back there, but it's been long ever since. And yeah, back here, if we go back to here, we'll see what the targets are on the upside. Go back to the last long. So we'll draw some targets on there. We'll say show target lines. Let's see, so there's one there, one there, one here. Let's look beyond 3. See where it is right now. Number of targets, we'll do 5. Say okay. And now you can see these targets 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So they're right up here at 905, 906. So I don't know where we are right now. Yep, we just went through all those targets. Okay, so those were what the targets were before. Now it didn't give you a long trade right here. I'm not sure why, but if we drop to a different time frame, 15-minute, we probably got one in here somewhere. There it is right there. So now it's got all these targets up ahead. 922 is the next one up. 922 would be the next one. So it's doing all that, looking left for us to find the targets, the future targets. So here on the 15-minute, and there, and there. And this, of course, is TV Trades. TargetViewTrades.com. If you want to take a look at that. And that looks like something I drew in at some point. I believe I might have drawn it on Exxon. These markets here still not giving us anything. We're out of the no trade zones though. The outer band's flat on that one. The outer band's a little spread on that, but we're still in no trade zone. The outer band's a flat on that. We're still in no trade zone on that one. So we just don't have anything happening over there. Those markets. Back to this. Let's see, what was the other one? Mr. We haven't looked at Mr. in a little while. Since it went the total wrong way on me. This is what I was thinking it was going to get up to, and it went the total wrong way down there when the earnings came out. Who knew earnings were going to be so bad? Anyway, it's starting to recover, and this is actually an inverted head and shoulder pattern. So it's building out a shoulder over here. It might stay in this range for a long time. It's looking like days. Could be a couple of weeks, looks like. Still be tradable though. The last long was right here. So it gave this long back here that didn't really go anywhere. It gave this short that you all know ran well. It gave this long right here from that short, which ran well. And now we're just kind of waiting to see what it's going to do next. It does have it hit the first profit target level. It's got the next one right here. We'll see. We will see. Okay. So nothing else. I don't know, guys. We have like a minute left. Yeah, I don't think we're going to get any of the trades in here. Did we get any? Yeah, we got two. We had one profitable trade on the NQ and one stop out on the YM. That's what we had so far. So it's been kind of a break even in this session. That's the kind of day it's been overall. Let's see here. Well, if you have not taken a free trial of this, let me just go over this one last time because I'm running out of time. And if you want to take a free trial and you haven't taken a free trial, go here to mytradingiq.com. I know this has been really slow, but if you want to sign up for the trial and get access to the indicators, the only way to do that is to go here to mytradingiq.com, click on the purple button. There's no credit card required. That will bring you to this registration page. Just put in your information, hit the register button, and you'll be all set. Okay. So far on the month, we're up $1,947, averaging $486 per day. We finished last month averaging $488 per day. We're up $10,745 with one contract last month. And on the year now, we're at $35,682 per contract, averaging $419 per contract per morning session. Okay. That's all I got. With that, I guess we can pass it back out to fabulous Phoenix, Arizona, and Studio A overlooking South Mountain, America's largest city park. Dwayne, if you are ready to take it back.
Yep. Recap of the morning session.
Today it took 6 minutes and one trade to get to $2,550.
Good job.
All right, thank you. Thank you.
Okay, guys, we'll take one last peek at the daily chart. We've already covered everything else. And there we sit. Straddle the 62% fib extension. We've overcome the trend line. If we close above the 62% fib extension today and watch this bearish cross right here, that's potential resistance. And then each one of these highs as potential resistance all the way up to the all-time historic high put in on April 1st, 53.33 half. Now, these are getting bunched up, and that could all change. This could turn out to be a head fake. I'm not saying it is, but you've got to embrace all possibilities. So, to become a member, go to mytradingiq.com. If you have questions, call 949-42-EMINI or send us an email, support@cfrn.net. 9 out of 10 new traders fail simply because they don't have someone to teach them how to trade. That's why we have a live training room, 2 hours every trading day. It's that important. Books are fine, videos are fine, but they are not a replacement for a living, breathing teacher in an interactive environment where you're able to trade along and ask questions and actually learn. Once you learn how to trade, it's a valuable life skill that no one can ever take away from you. And once you know how to trade, you can trade anything, anywhere, anytime, because price flows the same across all markets and all time frames. Support to resistance, back to support, back to resistance, over and over, again and again. It's a never-ending cycle. along with having 2 hours of live training every trading day. You also have access to private one-on-one mentoring, no extra charge. The strategy you learn, the indicators you own as a passport holder, are fluid across all markets, all time frames. As a passport holder, you get the Logic 247 alerts, the concierge trade alerts, the weekly trading zones, and much more. Plus, you get to come to the members-only workshop every Thursday night. Everything a trader needs, all under one roof at one low price. MyTradingIQ.com. Let's wrap it up with a good word for the day. We'll talk about this topic for a couple days. Pruning. Now, I'm not talking about the kind of prune you eat. I'm talking about the kind of pruning you do with your rose bush. Hebrews 12:10. But God's discipline is always good for us. Did you know that some master gardeners actually talk to their plants? Well, if you ever saw The Karate Kid, then you know that. Mr. Miyagi was big on it. Why do they do it? Because it helps them grow. Imagine yourself saying, "You're such a good plant. My, you're looking fine today. I'm so proud of you." Now picture yourself talking to a plant you're pruning and saying, "This pains me more than it pains you." Whack. "You'll thank me for this afterwards." Whack. "It's for your own good." Whack. Now picture the plant talking back to you. "You don't have a heart. You hate me. I worked long and hard to make those roses and you just cut them off." Isn't that what we say to God while He prunes us? "Don't you love me? Don't you care about me? Don't you see what's going on in my life right now?" We think God is mad at us. No, He's not mad. One of the major mistakes we make is confusing pruning with punishment. Don't equate the two. God sees you as someone who can bear more fruit, someone with potential for greatness, someone He wants to utilize in a significant way. He wants you to be as fruitful as you can conceivably be. So He prunes you, even lopping off some of the things He has been blessing in your life. Have you lost a job you loved? Or a relationship you loved? God may have something better in mind. Can you trust Him? Do you believe He is at work in your life? His word says, "God who began the good work within you will continue His work until it is finally finished." Philippians 1:6. And that's our good word for today. Thanks so much for tuning in. Whoever you are, wherever you are, may God continue to richly bless you with His mercy and with His grace. And I'll see you at the bell.
Remember this, there is no greater return on investment than to see a human life changed and given hope. As always, pray hard and trade safe. Any financial information discussed on this show is simply the opinion of our host, Dwayne Reeves, his co-hosts, and guests. To learn more about trading E-mini futures or to take a 1-week free trial in our live trading room, call 1-866-928-3310. 866-928-3310. Information discussed on this radio program should not be construed as a recommendation to buy or sell any security. Always do your own due diligence and consult with a licensed securities broker or financial planner before making any investment decision.